Hi, happy Sunday evening. Welcome to the Living Life Juicy podcast. Um, First one of 2018. As a matter of fact, this is the first live streaming broadcast that I've ever done. So I'm excited to be here. And the purpose of this, Living Life Juicy, is to kind of document my journey of trying to live a juicy life for 2018. Now, this has been a theme that I've really loved for decades. Ever since I first thought this through in a really, really bad translation of a verse in the Bible that talks about Jesus says, I've come that you might have life and live it abundantly. And that was just too fancy of a word, kind of too religious for me. But when I started to think about what that really meant, it meant living a life not just to be safe, that's already taken care of, but a full, overflowing, abundant, all that kind of stuff equated to juicy. This idea that what life can be is adventurous and exciting and amazing. And so I started playing with that idea. As a matter of fact, originally this site was called Living Juicy, but I came across a great book by a woman named Sark called Living Juicy, and I wanted to honor that. That's hers, but it's amazing content, and it gets you thinking about how to live a full life, and that's what this is about. For my business, which is Praxis Training and also Into Wisdom Publishing, Into Wisdom Group, on the bottom of my webpage, I have a little tagline that says, "Be kind as you do great things." And that really is what it means to live juicy, to do amazing things with your life and make sure that you be kind as you do that. And that sometimes I can get so focused on trying to do amazing things that I forget to be nice to people. And I think that part of it is really, really crucial and really, really important. So if you go to this YouTube channel, Living Life Juicy, you're going to notice that there's some older posts, including my travels. There's two series on there. One is scuba diving in Indonesia, which if you geek out over weird kind of undersea life, you'll enjoy that video series. It's called Living Juicy in Limbaugh Straits. I think there's like 5 or 6 videos that are all pretty much underwater and looking at the weird creatures that we came across while we were down there. There's another kind of travel thing that was when I went to Zimbabwe, Africa, and was on safari with an amazing guy, Alistair Crowdis. He runs a leadership program in camp out there, he and his wife, Shelly, and they're doing amazing things in an incredibly difficult situation in Zimbabwe. So you'll notice those older videos. You're also going to notice some singing, some songs that I've done in church and in other contexts. Also, just some little video projects here and there. So that was what Living Juicy, what that video channel was. Now, just this year, I've decided to use it in a little bit different way. Renamed it to Living Life Juicy, and kind of dedicated this year. This is going to be a year of Living Life Juicy and what that means. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes every week and kind of look back, reflect on the week that I had lived, and kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, what worked and what didn't. But I'm also going to look ahead to the week coming up and see if I can challenge myself. And I want to invite anybody who's watching along. It's going to be messy. That's one of the things about Living Juicy is a lot of people think that, oh, it's all about just fun and adventure and all that kind of stuff. But if you truly are living juicy, being kind as you do great things, another way to look at it is being intrinsically motivated, but externally focused. So want to do things make the world around you a better place. Well, that's going to get messy. And I can guarantee I'm going to screw up. And that's part of the adventure and part of the fun is getting out there and trying things that are just a little bit beyond my skill level or my capacity, because that's how you grow. One of the things that I'm currently wrestling with, and I've been learning this for a long time, is the concept that Carol Dweck brought up in her book Mindset, and Angela Duckworth kind of popularized in a book called Grit. This idea of a mindset where you are always continually growing and you don't put limits on yourself. A growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset, where your intelligence isn't fixed by your IQ. Your intelligence can continuously be expanded because of how you experience the world. Instead of looking at failure as reaching your limits, failure is showing where your current limits are so that you can expand them. And I anticipate many of these weekly live feeds are going to be talking about where I've discovered my limits and then am working to try and figure out how do I exceed those things. For example, this last week, every Thursday, I have breakfast with a group of men that we've been meeting for probably, going on 7-8 years now. It's a very small group and very kind of mixed group as when it comes to politics and philosophy and things like that. And I find myself, when I listen to people's stances, that I'm trying to fix their thinking rather than listen and appreciate and figure out how can I learn more with all that. So dismal failure this week. As we were talking and things came up, I was doing my best not to listen, but to win an argument. And it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't benefit me in any way at all. And I end up walking away feeling frustrated because I don't feel connected. I don't feel like I was kind. And I really want to be kind as I go about trying to do amazing and wonderful things with my life. Didn't happen on Thursday morning, maybe next week. And I'm going to keep trying. Another way, so I played music this morning. And it was a group of, we were playing for about probably 100, 150 people. And in the warm-up, my guitar sounded fine. And we played really well together. We had a wonderful rehearsal and warm-up session. Sounded great. But something happened between our warm-up and when we actually started playing. My guitar got out of tune. And so I'm playing with a group of people, and first strum, totally off, totally out of it. And I realized that, wow, I cannot keep playing, but I'm kind of leading the singing on this. And I had to kind of pull back. I turned to the other guitar player and said, you gotta carry this, buddy, which kind of stressed him out a little bit. And I tried to tune in the middle of everything. It just made it worse. But taking a deep breath and continued singing. Well, every once in a while, I just, play the guitar a little bit just to see if I wasn't hearing things. But no, it was totally out of tune. And kept singing and kept playing. And this is kind of the lesson I learned from that continuous improvement, that growth mindset was this. When you're playing by yourself, if your guitar is in tune to itself, it really doesn't matter. It sounds fine because it's in tune to itself. But if you want to play with a group of people, if you want to enter into a band setting, if you want to be in community, you got to make sure that you're in tune with everybody around you. Because I can be in tune with myself. It's going to sound horrible when I'm trying to play with everybody else. So my lesson walking away from my time this morning out of tune was that I got to remind myself that if I want to be kind as I do great things, I've got to pay attention to the people in the world around me so that we're tuning together, that we're all in the same boat. So that was last week. And lessons learned. As a matter of fact, Monday or Tuesday, before a lot of this happened, I was in my mornings, I'll go down and I'll spend some time writing in my journal and sitting in my brown chair downstairs early in the morning, hopefully before my son wakes up. I've got a 4-year-old son, where I can just spend some time thinking about the day, capturing my first thoughts. And I was writing about how it's amazing how if you're on a boat, if you're just floating You don't feel the current because the current's just moving you all around. As soon as you drop anchor and decide this is where I want to be, all of a sudden you're getting pulled by the current. You feel the current because you know where you want to be. Same sort of thing happens when you, like a kite. A kite won't fly unless it's anchored and being pulled against the wind. As soon as we decide that we want to do something, as soon as we put a stake in the ground, all of a sudden we feel the resistance around us. Another way of looking at that is, as long as you don't want to go anywhere, you're not going to hit any obstacles. You can always take the path of least resistance. But as soon as you decide on a fixed destination, then all of a sudden you have to cover terrain. You have to cross over certain things to get to where you want to go. Sometimes that road's going to be easy and paved in a straight line. Other times you're going to come across rivers and mountains and obstacles that you have to go over. But as soon as you decide on a destination, you've got to close the gap. So my mind went to the scene from the original Star Wars episode or whatever, 4, The New Hope. If you remember when R2-D2 and C-3PO, they right at the beginning of the movie, they crash land on Tatooine, Luke's home planet. And as they're going across the desert, R2-D2 knows where he wants to go. He has a destination. C-3PO doesn't really care. And so they come to a crossroads, and R2-D2 insists they've got to go in this direction. And C-3PO says, that's too hard. Let's go this way. It's easier. C-3PO doesn't care where he's going. R2-D2 does. And that means that he has to face the harder landscape. So when I put the stake in the ground and said that this is going to be the year of living life juicy, I should have expected to all of a sudden to feel the current, to notice the obstacles as I try and live that life and close that ground. And that's all part of living juicy. It's messy. It can be a challenge. But if you want to do great things and be kind to people, you've got to realize that living juicy there will be resistance to it. You're going to find difficult and challenging times, and that makes it even better. I think about my days as an athlete. You wanted to be a game day player. You practice all this time, but the game is really when you challenge yourself. You step on that field, and all of a sudden you have an opponent that's working against you. So it's not just all about your effort. It's also about entering in the field and playing the game as hard as you can, realizing that there's going to be setbacks, realizing that people are going to be pushing against you. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it interesting. So I'm hoping that I can get some people following along, that maybe I even get some people taking the challenges with me as I step into each week. For instance, this week, I'm going to be on the road this week. I'm going down to work with an old client. We're actually starting a new group of people going through emotional intelligence to figure out how can we find our choicefulness, knowing that we don't have to let our emotions drive us. We need to account for them because they're very powerful, but we don't have to let them drive us. We can be choiceful in how we do that. We can be intentional. So I'm going to be working with a new group of people for that. I'm also, this is kind of really, really cool. I'm going to be talking to a group of doctoral candidates. They're going through their doctoral program, EDD doctorate on organizational leadership. And I get to talk to them 2 different topics. One topic is practical creativity. How can you both leverage practicality and creativity to get your best thinking out there? The other topic is talking about organizational ecosystems, or how can you be intentional about organizational culture? So as I'm traveling, I have this wonderful opportunity to interact with amazing professionals, also students, and this group of doctoral students, they're all on the job. They're all currently working in positions, and have influence over their organizations. So I've got amazing opportunities. The challenge this week is going to be taking my downtime between those programs and using it to be productive and creative. My goal is to get some writing done, to write on this kind of stuff, the Living Life Juicy. There's a couple of projects that I'm working on. One is, and I'm going to share more about this in future episodes, the growth journey. How can you be really intentional about both looking at where you want to go, where you're at, and how do you close that gap? Another thing I want to get some more information out there on, this idea of professional acumen, that the same skill sets that make you a great professional, make you a great supervisor, and make you a great manager, will make you a great entrepreneur, all these types of things, and looking at the self acumen, the people acumen, and business acumen. So I'm going to try and write some of those things while I'm on the road, see if I can't overcome the distractions of being in a hotel room and just kind of not being in my home environment, see if I can't really get down and use the environment, enjoy the vacation, and also use it to get some good writing done. So that's my challenge for this week. I'm going to, next week, maybe on Sunday, although that's when I'm talking with the doctoral students, Sunday or Monday, I'm going to spend some time. I'll get back on and do another live feed of Living Life Juicy. Between now and then, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you want to join in some of these challenges. The challenge ultimately is to be kind as you do great things, and try and have it be internally motivated, but focused on the world around you. That's the challenge. I hope to hear from you. Please take some time to comment, like, share, do whatever you need to do. But I'd like to get a number of you guys to join me on this journey as I make 2018 the year of Living Life Juicy. Have a great night. Dive into Monday. Enjoy it. Live next week juicy.